Welcome back to the Dallas Meetup Dime, where we get straight to the value in 10 minutes or less. I'm your host, Carson Gibbons, and today I'm joined by Aman Sohail, Senior Associate over Strategy for MassChallenge and a Venture Fellow for NYC-based Legendary Ventures, a venture capital firm focused on accelerating value creation for consumer retail technology companies. Aman, thanks so much for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
How are you today?
I'm good.
Tell us about MassChallenge.
Yeah,
what is MassChallenge?
We're a nonprofit, no equity, no cost accelerator out of Boston. We came out in 2008, really during the recession as an answer to the financial crisis. We need startups. That's the light at the end of the tunnel, but we can't solve that problem if we're taking a cut. So that's the premise of why we were born. We have adapted every single year. Every single year, MassChallenges look completely different. We now focus on healthcare, fintech, climate, and security and resiliency as our 4 verticals. We've been in Texas for about 6 years. Moved our official headquarters for Texas to Dallas about 3 years ago, and we're so happy to be here. Really focused on the healthcare bio side here in Texas, and then we're also growing fintech, which has been really interesting.
Where was the original Texas headquarters?
We were in Austin and Houston before. So we used to run those in-person live programs before COVID. So we had hubs everywhere. We currently have offices in Boston, Dallas, Switzerland, and Israel. We used to have Mexico City. We used to be in different parts of Africa. We used to be in Asia and Japan, the UK, Mexico City. We're running programs everywhere. We embraced the whole hub and spoke model where we went everywhere. We brought programs to each city, and that was a way to do it before COVID. And then COVID happened. We were running all these programs simultaneously, virtually, which made no sense. And that was before my time. But we really figured out that, hey, we need to centralize this because that's how you have quality in a program. You need the institutional knowledge that the whole team has. So whenever you go into a new city and hire a new team, you're not going to get the same value out of a program. So that's why we pivoted. And now you'll see that we have a lot of virtual mentorship, connections to investors, connections to corporate partners. That's the premise of the program. We'll fly you in once or twice for a program typically, just so that you can get 2-3 days, and we'll expose you very fast to our network in that specific city. And it's not always Boston, oftentimes it is, but for our healthcare program, we brought them to Dallas because we thought that made a lot of sense. For our security and resiliency program this year, they went to Boston and then they went to DC. We don't even have staff in DC. We just decided that, hey, this is where a security and resiliency startup should be. We did a conference, they did a tour of the Pentagon, they had a really cool dinner with A16Z, so really
Very
awesome
cool.
Programming, and everything is custom every time. So as you can imagine, the team definitely is, they're working hard every day.
This is the Dallas Meetup Dime, so it's music to my ears, obviously, to hear that you took away some of those legacy hub and spokes from Austin and Houston, moved them to Dallas post-pandemic 3 years ago. Did you take away the presence completely from Austin and Houston from like a brick and mortar perspective?
So Dallas is our Texas hub.
Okay.
So we source all over the state. So even if you're in Austin, Houston, San Antonio, you can still apply for a MassChallenge program, and chances are you might not even have to come to Dallas. You might have to go to Boston, or you might have to go to another region that we think you need to be in. And then, the program's international. So your peers will be startups that are coming in from Japan or from Germany or Colombia. They can come from anywhere. And it's a really awesome program to be with the highest level of peers. So we take about 10%.
10%?
Mm-hmm.
How many annual applications is MassChallenge receiving?
That's a good question.
Sorry to put you on the spot.
I do have that number in my head somewhere.
We can circle
It's about
back.
1,600.
1,600?
1,600 applications.
So you've taken 160 annual companies
across
the 4 verticals you said?
Mm-hmm.
Back me up, because you said something that I think kind of went over my head early on. Not-for-profit accelerator, and you don't take a cut
No,
of
we
the
don't
company?
take an equity cut. No.
Okay, so how does that work? I
Yeah.
went to Y Combinator myself, $150,000
Right.
safe note for 7%
Right.
of the
Yeah,
company.
so funding isn't a huge element of our accelerator program. It's really those connections and the mentorship. There is some curriculum. We often will do non-dilutive funding, so not everyone gets it, and it's really a year later that will open up eligibility for those options. Last year we gave about $1 million away in non-dilutive capital. So those are typically checks between $25,000 and $200,000 for each startup. But yeah, it's all no strings attached cash.
Does MassChallenge ever see itself as the accelerator before the accelerator that helps you get to that point where you could apply to a Y Combinator?
That's a good question. Typically, that's what we were. We used to be really early. That's the market we were feeding. However, recently, we were looking at for example, our venture capital partners that were looking at our startups, and they were early. They were too early for them. So we've recently pivoted to the commercialization stage. It's been startups that are ready for their first corporate client. It's the folks that are ready to go raise their A round or their seed round. So before our early stage program, you saw a lot of people who were pre-seed, pre-revenue. However, now it's kind of shifted where some of them have raised up to $5 million in dilutive capital or have $3 million in ARR, which that just tells you where the market's at. The investment dollars are not as free-flowing as they used to be, so we have had to shift where we're servicing, and in tandem with that, we've also had to grow our community partnerships and making sure that we're servicing the market for the early side so that we have people to send them to, and then we also have places for our startups to go afterwards. So we had to make sure we were in the middle of a really, in a spot where there's really great partners on both sides. And that's currently where we're at in the funnel. It's the commercialization side. It's get ready to scale. So most folks already have their pitch deck ready. We don't really help with that unless it's all about how can you cater to the specific client or the specific type of partner. That's where we come in. We're here to make those great intros that can get you to market really fast.
Individually, as like an individual contributor, I feel like your title is probably not as lofty as the role that you actually play for the Texas hub. What does a senior associate over strategy focus on day to day for MassChallenge?
A lot of stuff.
Just being the glue?
Whenever you get a strategy title, it just means you're doing too much, or nothing, right? So they basically hired me because they needed someone on the ground. We had our whole team up in Boston. We had some people still in Texas, but we still had a lot of remaining people in Houston and the other markets. So they said, hey, we really need someone. So they hired me in tandem with our head of Texas strategy. So my job has really been to just do whatever it takes to get Texas off the ground here in Dallas. So when I first came on, it was executing on a lot of our revenue requirements that we already committed to. So that was what I sprinted on right when I came in. So we did an awesome grant with JP Morgan. That was actually in Houston, all around BIPOC founders in the climate and energy space. So really specific. So I came in, I was like, what is that? And we executed some programming on it. Then it's also here in Dallas. We're really focused on biotech, healthcare, life sciences. Lyda Hill Philanthropies is our biggest partner here. So they have us up at Pegasus Park. We're growing out community around the innovation ecosystem over there. Place-based innovation is really interesting. It's all about getting people in the room together. So that's what we're here for. We bring our healthcare programs here, hence why our healthcare program came to Dallas. And it worked out really well. So I touch everything from our programs, our marketing, our corporate engagements, connections to our VCs, our mentors, and support the whole team. So we have teams, of course, in Boston that do this in silos or in departments. So I basically just go and support everyone up there and bring everything over here to Texas.
I love that you guys are doing that. You had your recent healthcare summit at Pegasus Park, I believe the same day that we did our last Dallas meetup, and I heard nothing but rave reviews. And I love the fact that you're flying in hundreds of people from around the world, around the country, to Dallas as a hub for innovation. Legendary Ventures, you recently onboarded?
Yeah.
Tell more about that.
I wanted to get some more experience in the venture capital space so that I could better support the startups that go through MassChallenge. So Legendary is a firm out of New York. They focus mostly on consumer retail, but really do everything from healthcare, AI, SaaS. They'll look at any deal really, but the premise is they focus on revenue generating companies typically that haven't raised as much. That's their early stage
revenue
portfolio. Generating
companies.
Yeah, that's the
actual
biggest thing.
businesses.
Yes, actual businesses with actualized revenue, which, believe it or not, that's really tough to find. I
know it.
Which has been really interesting. So they do a little under 10% in the early stage side, and they do a lot of growth equity deals. So. That's been really interesting just to have exposure to. The general partner is really awesome there. He's been just really great at exposing me to a lot of the way that the internal mechanisms work at a VC firm. So it's been awesome insight for me and has been really helpful for as we're talking to our own startups at MassChallenge on how can you go fundraise, how can you present yourself better, what do they actually care about, what don't they care about, are they actually going to read your pitch deck, or are they going to ask you a few questions and then move on? So it's been super insightful.
Are you more attractive to a Legendary Ventures with your connects to a MassChallenge and the fact that you're basically bringing all those relationships with you, at least from a right of first refusal or an interpersonal perspective?
Of course they want some exposure to that. I've had to be very diligent on having a lot of separation.
Yeah.
And I don't spend all that much time on Legendary. It's really it's been a side learning opportunity for me at the moment. But yeah, of course, they want exposure to the Dallas market. Legendary themselves, they're here in Dallas right now. They have opened up a little shop. So they're one of the few VC firms in Dallas that are actually deploying capital. I think they've written 2 checks this year so far. So it's been, that's good to see.
Can you comment on average check size at all?
No.
Okay. I've heard the same, that they're one of the ones that will actually deploy real capital to hardworking revenue-generating companies or startups. So what would your ask for our community be, given the multiple hats that you're wearing, some of which we haven't even discussed here today?
Yeah.
We think you're a great guy. We featured you at, I believe it was the Health Tech.
Yes.
Health Tech cohort. You were a big hit amongst your peers. So how can we help you?
Yeah, well, MassChallenge is here to support. We're always looking for startups, again, in the healthcare space, but also fintech, climate, defense, dual use, all of that. So any startups here in Dallas, come to us. We're here as a support network for you. We're your honest broker. So we're here to help. We're always looking for mentors in the space. We're always hosting events. We do something every month typically. So, come check us out. We're doing a lot of fun stuff, and we want you in the community. We're here to build the ecosystem, and we're here to stay. So the idea is we want everyone to know that it's okay to launch a startup. That's the biggest thing we've had to preach to Texans. And of course, it's been interesting because the culture here is different, right? So we're saying you can be successful running a startup. That's been the biggest push. And you can do it in Texas too. You don't have to move to the West Coast or the East Coast. You can be here. 100%. So we're here as a resource, one of many. There's a lot of resources here in Dallas. So just take advantage.
Keep it up. You're doing the Lord's work.
Thank you.
Aman Sohail.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you coming on.